Who wants to go?
I can go.
All right. Well, we'll go to Gabby for that.
Okay, so Sources of Strength is this organization. Like last year, we were a prevention club, and we decided to do this training that focuses more on like the positive and the positive endings to stories of trauma instead of like focusing on the actual trauma. And we recently did a training to bring more people into it, and it's to spread the message of hope, health, and strength throughout the school.
All right. So, Allie, how many students are involved in the program? You three, obviously. How many more do you have that are active?
It's hard to say because sometimes people come to the meetings, but they don't come to all the meetings. There's, I'd say about 15, 20 of us who are active and who did it last year. We're active members, us three are, and there's a couple others back at Stevens who are active members as well.
All right. Let's ask Rayna a bit about, so when you guys get together, I mean, what do you talk about? Give us an example of kind of what you do to do exactly what Gabby was talking about when you address kind of the positive outcomes of things rather than the trauma of things.
So basically what we do mostly is like help other people in their strengths, and like if you do sports and that makes you happy, then that's something you can focus on mostly and figure out like something that can make you more happy and focus less on days of sadness and depression.
Are there a lot of kids in the school that need to hear this kind of message, Allie?
Let me tell you, Todd, there is a lot of people out there who are just roaming the hallways like, man, this just sucks. Like, being at school sucks. All these people suck. This is horrible. And then there's a lot of people who go home and it's the same thing at home. And, you know, you got to just be like, you got to get a Source of Strength member and be like, I have your back no matter what. And I feel like a lot of people at Stevens, and really in middle school, because middle school is a hard time. I mean, let's be real. How many people really had a great experience in middle school? Like, let's be real. You're transferring from elementary school to middle school with all these bigger kids, all these new things, switching classes, you know. It's kind of scary.
Right.
So you gotta be prepared. And let me tell you, drama is real.
Drama. All right. Gabby, you wanted to add something to that.
Yeah, like kids these days, they turn more to their friends than to adults. I mean, yes, we have some adults trained in our school, but we really want to get students trained and not focus on like the popularity. We want to make sure it's a diverse group of students instead of, you know, one group. We want to spread it to the whole school. So we've trained about 70, 80 students.
Wow. Okay. So you've kind of spread out even beyond what would be your core group in this in Sources of Strength. So Rayna, that's a good point. I mean, kids they respond better to other kids sometimes when they're talking to them about, it could be the same message they would be getting from an adult, but they're going to ignore that, I guess. Maybe not so much if it's you.
Yeah, because most people don't have the, like, different adults that are older than us that are more, I'm not sure what the word could be. But other adults couldn't exactly understand a teen's mind, because a teen could have different mind concept than an actual adult. Because the adult could have gone through the same thing, but the teen might feel differently the way the adult did.
Yeah, well, how many people, I don't remember how I was when I was your age, so there you go. Allie, how do you talk with somebody? I mean, everybody's individual, so maybe give me an example of what you would say to someone if you see that they seem to be having some struggles.
I personally say to people that look sad or they have a sad face going down the hallway, passing periods are always the hardest I hear because it's a whole bunch of commotion. A lot of people pushing, shoving, trying to get to their next class so they're not late, or they're, you know, doing whatever else, trying not to get to class, trying to get to class. You know, it really just depends on the student. But if I were to say to somebody who was having a hard time, I'd say, are you okay? Like, I'm here and I'm not going to say anything unless I need to. If this is bad, then you need to tell me, because I can help. I mean, a lot of people go through a lot of hard things, and you just gotta be like, I will help you out. I won't tell anybody unless I need to. If this is serious, you need to tell me, and I'll help you pull from your strengths.
Well, so, Gabby, let's talk about that. I mean, how do you gain trust with someone? Because, I mean, it's one thing to do just what Allie said, but then you kind of have to get them to embrace what you said and to let you, take what you say solidly, not just as a one-off, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, usually if I've noticed somebody that kind of stands out a little bit more, or like if I've seen them around the halls and they're acting like differently than they normally do, then I try to I start out by introducing myself and trying to become like their friend. And if they're backing off, then usually I'll just ask what's going on or if they need any help.
Do they talk to you? I mean, will they come forward with things? I mean,
depends. It depends on their personality. I mean, a lot of people have anxiety or social anxiety, and so they aren't really comfortable with talking to those.
So, Allie, are there some other techniques you guys learn, to try to, remain somewhat engaged with someone? Maybe you do run into somebody who doesn't really want to share with you. I mean, maybe they do. They're just very uncomfortable with sharing with someone who might be a stranger, quote unquote.
Sorry, I'm laughing at that because I'm a very, very social person. If something's wrong with somebody, I can pick it up and be like, I'm your new best friend. You got spill the beans, sister. Come on. I'm your friend. I'm not going to tell anybody unless I need to. But let's hear it. And I have a lot of success with talking to people because I feel like I can really relate to people, because me personally, I've had a lot of things go on and I can really just relate to just about anything. So if somebody's like, oh my gosh, I'm having suicidal thoughts, this is really scary, I need some help, somebody help me, and they don't show it, they're not going to say that out loud just to a random stranger on the street. They're not going to tap somebody on the shoulder and be like, I'm going to kill myself today, I need some help. Mm-hmm. You gotta be the bigger person and step up first and say, I'm your friend, even if I don't know you. I am there for you, even if I don't know you. You could have a new best friend, I mean, you just gotta be that person who will welcome anybody into your life under certain parameters. You welcome anybody into your life and have them say what they need to say without it being a huge deal. Mm-hmm. You're not going to tell anybody, you're going to keep it safe, and you're going to help them.
Rayna's talk about training. I mean, all of this is one thing, but I know you guys all get some training so that you can react appropriately too, so you don't end up, making a situation worse. So what do you guys do for training so that you're prepared for these kinds of engagements with students when you do talk to them?
So for training, we usually last year we did the same thing as we did this year, which was talking about our strengths, talking about who we trust, sending letters to people who we trust and put our faith into. And we do some group activities that actually help us all connect to each other as a group and get to know each other personally and know about each other so we can help each other in our strengths and our downfalls. And Gabby, I'll go back over to you on this one, I guess. Drug and alcohol abuse was kind of a big issue with part of this. That still is a big part of what you're addressing here. So a lot of these problems that manifest as you're talking about, that might be one thing that some of these kids are doing. They're turning to substance abuse. Mm-hmm. So what do you do in that sense? I mean, at what point how do you help them to a certain point? But you're going to have to go get some other help for them.
Yeah. So there's this, I forgot what it's called, but there's limits, things you can help. You can have your limits, and then you need to go to other people. So usually, I have limits where if it's, if they're having, suicidal thoughts, or if they're starting to hurt themselves to a point where I can't stop them, I would go to an adult. Or if or somebody that I trust, like a mentor, like Leanne.
So you have, and Leanne Peterson's here, who's the counselor that's in charge of this program as well. You have a checklist, more or less. I mean, you kind of know that if you get to this point in somebody's conversation or some things come up, you need to do this.
Yeah, and it's also just what you're comfortable with talking about. Like, I'm more comfortable talking about, like, relationship issues, or if there's something going on that they don't know how to deal with, or depression, like something like that.
Right. Allie, the world of social media, that really plays into this stuff. I mean, it's an interesting, I'm going to say the question this way. You can have, 300 students in a school, and you think, oh, they're all social and they're around each other, but they're really very isolated because they're all on screens and things in this day and age. That's a problem, isn't it?
That is a great point, because you can, let's say you're walking down the hallway, right? There is a no cell phone policy through everybody in the school. Kids are in the 8th grade hallway. Things are different in the 7th grade hallway. If a teacher sees you in the 7th grade hallway with a phone, they'll be like, oh my gosh, you need to go to the office, right? Hand it over, Yeah. But in the 8th grade hallway, it's like, the teachers know that you're gonna keep being on it. You're just gonna put it back in your pocket. When you get past the teacher, you're gonna bring it back out and finish what you're doing, I know that people will post on their Snapchat story, like, pictures of them crying and, like, I'm feeling really down today, like, this really sucks, and then you'll come up to them, or, if you're out in school and you see it, and then you're like, oh, this person needs some help, I'm going to go up to them. They won't say anything about it. They'll be like, oh, I'll talk to you about it later. So, like, I feel like they're more comfortable over screens, and I think that's a barrier we need to break, because you need to be okay with saying, this hurts. What I'm going through right now hurts, and it's all about breaking the barrier, because saying that it hurts is hard. Saying that you're in trouble is hard. Things are hard, and I think that people think that depression is a bad thing. Like, I'm going to get sent away. I'm going to have to take pills. I'm going to have to do something horrible. But it's okay if you're sad. It's okay if you're depressed. It's okay to hurt sometimes.
You guys are making a pretty big impact, it sounds like. You've got a core group of folks, and then you've kind of cross-trained out. Eventually, I guess the goal is to probably get everybody that's somewhat involved in this program, and then perhaps they all can self-help themselves a little bit as well. So pretty neat, and this program really has kind of evolved, obviously, from where it began. Always did great stuff, but Sources of Strength is what it's called. Do you have 7th and 8th graders in? I should ask you that, too. Yeah. I know you're all 8th graders, but you do? Okay.
We have 7th graders in here, and then they'll transition as 8th graders, and they can help the new 7th graders coming in.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us a bit about, I think, a pretty valuable program, and a great peer-to-peer type of program as well. Sources of Strength at Stevens Middle School. That's Gabby Montana, Rayna Mathison, and Allie Fitzsimmons. And congratulations, you guys are almost to the high school, too. So I guess enjoy your last year of middle school. All right, we'll take a break. We're going to be back with more in just a moment.